Good evening. Detached thought waves. So, what could this be? When people think I need to still my mind in meditation, they tend to think they shouldn't have any thoughts. And on top of those thoughts, they tend to judge those thoughts and try to push those thoughts away instead of allowing them to just come in and process just as the energy that they are. So, thoughts are something very simple, but we tend to end up creating something more complicated because the mind gets attached and wants to rationalize a thought, justify a thought, suppress that thought. Oh, I'm not supposed to have these types of thoughts. So, what is it all about? Why do we take those thoughts so seriously? Why do we become so attached to those thoughts that we can't allow them to just float through like a balloon in the sky or clouds passing by? What makes it so difficult for us to just be still and just witness them, just observe them as they come in and see them for what they are? Wow, check that one out. There it goes. Cool. It's just energy. It's just energy in motion. It's a thought is simply the wave, you know, things are going to come through us. Haven't you ever felt the sensation in your body and you were like, whoa, that was wild. That was weird. Everything that manifests in physical form is a form of energy. And even the things we don't manifest in physical form that we can not see or touch, but we sense, is a form of energy. It's the thinking, the attachment of thinking, that creates more of that materialism, that form that shapes. We wouldn't even see the door, the desk, the house, the sky, if it wasn't for our conditioning, our belief systems, our experiences, because we've already been conditioned. This is what a house looks like. That's what a door looks like. But what if we didn't have that and we allowed things to just pass through? It would be a completely different world, of course. But that's the trick of the mind, is the illusion that everything we preconceive is real. All it is conditioning and the attachment we have to it. So as a thought comes in, your attachment to that thought, you're trying to rationalize, validate, make sense of, judge that thought, is really where the stagnation becomes a dis-ease in the body, a lodging, a blockage, the suffering in the mind, the emotions that come up. It's all of that creates an attachment. It is, if it were to just float through like the energy that it is, it wouldn't stick around in your physical body and it wouldn't turn into more than what it is. So there's nothing wrong with having thoughts, and there's no reason to judge them, nor should we shame ourselves about thoughts, because it's just like the waves. They're going to come in and they're going to go out. And the more we can accept that without making something of it, our lives become a lot easier. And so many of us think, oh, I have an opinion and I need to share it. But you know what? Opinions are, well, anyway, some people have heard some of the things they say about opinions, but the reality is what is the point of an opinion? A lot of times opinions we share to connect with another person. And I'm not, again, not judging it, but look at the opinion. What's the purpose behind why we try to rationalize a thought or validate a thought? If you can sit behind that and ask yourself, there's more to this. Why am I putting such significance? Why am I giving it so much attention? The thought, the opinion, the ideas, ideals, why is that? And again, you'll always come back to, what is your personal experience? What is your belief system? What is the environment that you came from? The culture, your peers, your family, the influences that have shaped your view of life, your perception, your reality. Because we talk about living in the real world. What is that? My real world is not going to be your real world. Nobody's going to experience the same thing. My thoughts are just simply this dance of what I know from my own truth of what I have experienced. And what's going to be in my scope, in my vision, what I see is simply based on everything I've already previously experienced. Because I am unable to know what I have never experienced until I experience it. Now that's kind of funny, isn't it? If you think about it, you really can't have a reality without a previous experience, and you're constant going back to also recreate. So sometimes that's where we end up in the fear department, because the mind wants to live. It doesn't want to turn around and be disintegrated. So the mind will try to keep you busy in the thoughts. It will attach to thoughts. It'll try to make you seem, like, oh, this is important. We need to focus and pay attention to this because it's the real world. This is reality. But the mind can put you in that crazy tailspin and just do the monkey loop back and forth, chasing its tail. Life is just as complicated as we make it. So the importance we place on the thoughts that we have determines how much we enjoy the life we're living. So I hope you're all trying to relax when the mind goes off in a tailspin. I was watching Joel Osteen the other day, and he said something I thought was pretty interesting. So I looked up the quote. And although he's not the original person who said it, it was Goy Nasu. An entire sea of water can't sink a ship unless it gets inside the ship. Similarly, the negativity of the world can't put you down unless you allow it to get inside you. It's the same thing with your thoughts. If you allow yourself to attach to a belief system, a way of how things need to be, should be, you're creating your own suffering because you have an expectation. An attachment is an expectation. An expectation is an attachment to what you want. It's a part of the controlling mind. This is the way I should be loved. And if somebody doesn't treat me this way, then I'm not being loved. Versus, to show me kindness and consideration, they must do this. Or my family, if they don't come running after me when I tell them I don't want to be bothered, then, people can't read minds. It's all about communication. And most of the time, we're not communicating outwardly what's going on up in here. We have been conditioned a little bit to think, oh yeah, other people should be mind readers. They should just know. But again, I go back to each of our individual experiences are so unique and personal that we can't project that any longer. And that's been one of the biggest sufferings of all of humanity, is our projection of what we want upon another to decide what we think they want for themselves, and vice versa. We hold each other in this prison idea that, oh, I know they don't want this or they do want that. And we don't actually communicate it. We don't ask. And so it comes back to, we have to start with ourselves, and we have to know what's going on inside of us and how much we attach to our own belief systems and experiences. Because the more you can recognize that your mind is trying to attach to some thought or a judgment, it doesn't matter, whatever drops into your head. If you're fixated on it, if you're triggered by it, if you're trying to stuff it down, there's a reason for it, and there's nothing wrong with it. But if you can let it pass and just witness it, it would serve you better to see what else comes up as you go through. So I hope this is helpful. I know a lot of people have been kind of stuck in their minds a lot lately. There's a lot of opinion throwing. Not everybody's going to agree with you, but sometimes it's nicer to agree to disagree, to be happy than to be right, and to be at peace in your own mind. Many blessings, sweet dreams, and good night.